Welcome, everyone! My name is YMIR, and today we got another breakdown video. Second one, officially. Woo! This is great. And it's very special to me, this one, because this is technically my first original composition that I release as my own under YMIR. Ouiuboc technically has original stuff inside, but I mean, it's still kind of like in that remix perspective, that remix realm, that remix realm. So, obviously what I want to do is I want to talk about this song that I wrote myself. And what's really interesting is that I managed to write this song within a span of 5-6 days. Why? Because my manager forced me to. And that is content that I guarantee to you. Wow. Yes, that is a little reverb thing. I'm doing this so analog. I'm doing it so manually just to... Wow. It's just fun, you know? It's reverb. It's reverb on the go. You know what I mean? Okay, so today what we're going to be talking about, some production in terms of my new single, Fall. Let's start straight from the beginning. Yeah, we have this. Wow, it's a... Oh, wow. It's a... Whoa! Whoa! That is, that's a little inverted piano thing. I have this piano over here. Ooh. Resampled it, inverted it, made it sound like old as hell with the beautiful OCS 45 by Oversampled. This is a great plugin. I love this plugin strictly for the wow depth over here. Check it out. You know, you see, take it out and just the same old straight note. I like it. The cassette types are really good. The cassette types are really good. Next up, on the piano, we don't have much. We have a little GULFOSS doing some cleansing of the equalizer, you know, it's giving it some clarity, and then a little compressor to, you know, get rid of some peaks, make it a little bit more squashed, because, you know, we all like a squashed piano. But I like it. It's very intimate. Listen. Nice. All right, next up we got this wonderful Mellotron by Arturia. The Mellotron is a great and interesting, like, sampler, you know? It does some really cool stuff, and I sadly only used it for a preset. Look at me, not using its full potential. But doesn't mean that I won't. So I have it going like this. It's doing this. Whoa! Old lo-fi vibes, singular notes. Wow! Filter mini without. It sounds like a choir, but with. It sounds like it's coming straight out of the gramophone, baby. I love it. I think that's so cool. Put that with the piano. Let's put it in. Ooh. Wow. What else do I got going on in this section? Oh, I got these weird plucky things over here. Listen to these bad boys. So this is like the first rhythmic concept that is introduced into the song, you know? And it kind of drives the whole song as it goes. So let me show you how that sounds just alone. This is it originally, weird pluck number 1. Added a Crystallizer, just recently got this. I think it's amazing. Soundtoys, amazing job as always. Halftime is also really cool. A producer friend of mine recommended it just for really quick and easy halftime stuff, and I am kind of stupefied that like I didn't use it before, because it's as quick as like you just press it and boom, you know, and then you can automate that. There's all these different kind of ways to reintroduce or like change your original sound into something like crazy, you know. I love it. Without it, it sounds like this. And that sound is from the new East-West Opus. They recently came up with like a brand new update, and it sounds so good. They've reworked their whole Hollywood library of strings, and they've also added like these kind of performance presets where it makes this thing more of like a playable and easy to use software in comparison to before, where I felt like I had to individually get every single string section and then put it all together to make the strings that I wanted to. Now it's just kind of like, all right, well, here's an extra bit of just making it easier for you. So thank you, East West. Sponsor me, please. Sponsor me so I could reverb my way. Next up after that, we got the Opus. Here, it's just adding, I think, like a little pizzicato underneath, and this low note isn't even working. I think it's out of the range. Listen. Yep. It just adds a little bit of the thing over there on top of it because you kind of lose some of the extra rhythm. So altogether, without the Opus, you know, a little bit more depth. You know, just gives it some extra oomph. Next up after that, we got the vocals. Yay! So vocals are split between two different channels, as I always do. I use the TLM 103. For my voice, it gives a lot of high-end frequencies. I already generally have a lot of high-end frequencies, but this just brings it out more. All thieves and lovers are faithful admirers. Let me take out the delay and reverb, because that does like half the job. All thieves and lovers are faithful admirers of sin. Right? Take out this guy without it. All thieves and lovers are faithful admirers of sin. Interesting. So it's not too bad. I think I added like so much. All thieves and lovers are faithful. You know, I probably don't need all of these plugins, to be honest. I think I can probably cut out like all of them and just add a compressor. All right, so then moving on to the next section, we get to like this new... Oh, I forgot the bass. Yes, we add two basses over here in this one. Cast on your heart, strings of... Ooh, yes. The Helen key and the mini sub from Arturia. Helen key is from a company called Felt Instruments. I love these guys. I think they do amazing stuff. If you've seen my Uyubak breakdown, you'll know that I've used their other piano called the Leko. They do really good, like, lo-fi, kind of like very intimate instruments. And Helenki originally is a glockenspiel, or music box kind of style sound. Very bell-ish. This sound is kind of like a bass, which is kind of weird. And I smacked that right on top of the mini sub over here. And this goes like this. It is what it is. It's a sub by Arturia. A club sub. No portamento. Beautiful. Yeah, that with this. Boom. You got yourself a very intensely deep sounding bass. Instruments over here. These are the drums. Did some whistles. And I have this thing. It's a kick. Interesting. Yeah, that's a kick. And then over here, probably one of my favorite parts of this whole song. The idea behind this was to make something very kind of like lo-fi, but heavy, you know? Just to kind of match this whole string thing that I'm going to talk a bit about later. It kind of gave me this kind of like 007, kind of like organic sounding vibe to it. It kind of goes like this. Yeah. So that is a lot of just extra elements over here, like just like lo-fiing stuff, intense amount of compression, just to make it sound like it's super squashed. Ozone imager to clean up the low end. RC20 to make it more lo-fi with a little bit of distortion and space reverb. And then Pro Q to clean out some of that low, like absolutely low sub-frequency mud. And also some 267 hertz for more mud. Other than that, we got a bunch of kicks, some extra toms. Toms are very clean. The kicks aren't. They're very kind of like super subby, so you don't really hear these like on phones, for example. It's very much like you'll hear them in the whole headphone or the monitor listening experience. Other than that, we have the string section. Ooh, yay! Woo! Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so this same thing, I was playing around with most of the new East-West updates with Opus. Lo-fi strings. With some vocal doubler, little alter boy. You know, I like kind of using like vocal form and shifting stuff on everything else but the vocals, just because it creates like this weird garbly artifact. Kind of makes it feel like, you know, it's like worn out, which is nice, you know, while still sounding like it has like some bit of fidelity. I counter that with some strings over here that aren't really touched by any of these guys. Like high violin kind of stuff, you know. It just helps to kind of make the garbliness sound like there's some clarity to it, while still maintaining like the depth and the kind of like the weird tone that I wanted. Weird plucks were there. A Blisco cello, also from Felt Instruments. Originally sound like this. Put Raum. Raum is free, I think. It's like a reverb slash like other thing plugin. Imager, just to clean up a little bit of the width. Frequency, Pro Q, brighten it up. Filter Mini to do the exact opposite of what I wanted with that. Yeah, I think I was trying out some different stuff. That's why I put like the Pro Q, like super high and high frequencies, and then the filter to kind of like duck it. I was like, you know what, the filter feels pretty good. It feels kind of nice. I'll keep it. Woo! Organ. Organ's fun. Check it out. Yeah! I feel like I'm playing a Castlevania game, dude. It sounds so sick. You'll never get me, Trevor Belmont. I have to get stronger to avenge my bloodline. You can't beat me. That was a horrible. Then we get the vocals over here, the Vox back alt. What are they doing? Yeah, yeah. So those are just extremely aggressive, panned, hard left, hard right, back vocals, just to give a little bit more uniqueness to the top main vocal over here, this bad boy. Without it, it kind of lacks, you know? Sorry, I was just curious to hear how that sounded with without any drums on it. Beautiful. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, these guys, what's making them sound super aggressive is the Devil Lock over here. Yay for destruction. After all of this is said and done, right? We get into the big build-up. Are you ready? You know, like, get like that hype man right there. I want to see everyone in the front. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I do. And then after all that, we get right into the build-up. So this is really fun because at this point of the song, I wasn't too sure what the hell I wanted to do. So I think I started trying out some different sounds. I used the CS80. It had this really nice ARP called the ARP Down. Hey there, baby. You're looking good. And yeah, I decided to use that, and it kind of started building up into like this trance thing. And it's around this moment where I started to feel like, oh no, I don't know where I'm going with this song. Oh my, I built up a certain style here, and now I'm going into another style here. I guess I should double down by adding a sawtooth ARP here as well. Yeah. Decided to use it. Why not? Same bass, a little noise lifter, not too much stuff going on in terms of like uplifters, downlifters, build-up effects and stuff like that. I kind of felt like the minimalist approach would have been best in this case due to the time constraints. But it came out pretty nice, you know? Did some automation on the decay times and the envelope decay times on both of these ARPs. And I went super classic. I was like, you know what, bro, whatever. Trance, Adagio for strings, Tiesto, nostalgia. Let's do it. Kept the pianos going here. Oh, I totally forgot to talk about this. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, these pianos over here, these are really fun. These are just genuine pianos going like this. Listen to them. Like, I'm sure you guys know of the game Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda. You know the soundtrack and how it sounds so sporadic? Like, I was like, that is so cool. I need to find more ways to do that. So I did that. And then I ended up not doing it exactly like this. Ended up using a Crystallizer. And reverb. In the background. So you hear it a lot over here. Yeah? You hear that? So all that is building up. There's even a little bit of organ going on over here, I think. That's kind of just adding to the randomness. Makes like some nice little ear candy for the listener. So that's what that was. And it came out pretty good. I started using a second weird pluck over here. Weird plucky thing is basically the same thing as the first weird plucky thing, but a little bit more squashed with kind of like an OTT, upward downward compression, and an LFOtool to do a straight square wave volume LFO. So yeah, so we got that. That's just creating more rhythmic content. At this point, I was starting to build up in the rhythm, right? Because I'm like, hey, we're going to start getting into the drop. Woo, what are we going to do? You know, and then we get to the drop. And boom! Yeah, so in the drop, we start going into more of this kind of like lo-fi hip-hop kind of trap beat, you know, this. Hey, hey, woo! You know, so that's cool. I added with this really aggressive bass. Yeah, so I wanted to have that minimalistic kind of approach to the drums, A, due to time constraints, and B, just because, like, hey, you know what? It's kind of fun when there's, like, some really, like, you take from different genres and kind of, like, mash them up together. So that's what I was kind of like, if I'm going to stick to this trance thing that I'm doing with the sequence, with the ARPs, I might as well do something cool with it. And then I got super inspired by, like, an artist known as Sublab. He's amazing at taking like those classic kind of like trance and house synth elements and putting them on top of like a trap aesthetic. It sounds absolutely insane. I encourage you guys to go listen to him. But I took a little bit of inspiration from that idea of like genre bending and incorporated it over here with a little bit more obviously of my personal aesthetic. As you may know, I like distorted basses. So I did that with this bass. This is how the bass sounds alone. Now without all the effects. Whoa, dude! It was just a sub bass? What? Yeah, I did a lot to this thing. I added like a distortion, compression, trash, imager, maximizer, thermal, GULFOSS, and Pro Q, which did like this whole jump in high frequencies. So the thing about this bass over here, sub 1, is that it was missing a lot of like center frequencies. You know, and I mean, I could have probably spent more time really trying to clean this up, but I was like, you know what? In the nature of how I do things, let me just add more layers. So this serum bass is simply just a square wave. And you know, it's like you have something so complex, I think it might have been nice just to complement it with something a little bit simpler, you know? So you put that together. It also adds like some frequency content that I was really itching for, I guess. Without. With. You know, like things like that. That was beautiful. I pretty much stuck to this whole bass sound for like the whole song except at the very end. In terms of like the most important things in this whole section, it's the compressed air noise over here. Listen. That's it. Without that, the whole song completely breaks down. Like, listen. With, right? And now without. Disgusting. Utterly atrocious. Disgusting. You know, like, it's not gonna work. Next up, we got more of the weird plucks that creates like these square wave rhythm. And then, second half of the drop. Reintroduce the chorus, because that is a good thing to do. Once you've introduced a brand new section, is bring something familiar back into it. Other than that, added some new harmonies over here. Those just follow the same kind of thing. I think it's like a 4th or 5th harmony in terms of harmony. Yeah, more or less. Other than that, we got the next section. Oh yeah, the drums get a little bit more aggressive over here. From here, you hear the kick. Then I add a stomp. And I add a ride or crash. A few little like elements to add to it. Right? Super cool. And then we move on to this next section over here. Okay, second verse, right? Keep the same melody. change up the instrumentation, try something completely different. I think that made sense. I started to incorporate this DX7 over here that does this. Kind of subliminal without all the elements. Put that as a, but I mean, I don't think it was gonna get lost in the mix anyway. I think I wanted something more icy in tone, so I used that. I used the Biggifier. Eden. I don't know what it does, but it make it big. You know, I needed it to sound big, so I put it. And then, lo-fi flute thinga, the thinga, this guy. Originally a flute, but with space reverbs and vocal doubler. Very cool. And vocal. This time around, since I had so many like reverby elements going on in this whole section, I took the main vocal and I completely cut out the reverb to give it a little bit of breather. We thieves and lovers will keep us. You'll hear it a lot over here. Lounge Lizard. Yeah, so incorporating some stuff to make it very icy. And also I went full kind of like aggressive on that bass melody over there. Create a bit of a uniqueness to it. Once again, didn't change the bass sound over here. Time constraint, but also didn't need to. Felt pretty good. Other than that, we got pianos reintroduced, weird plucky thing. And this guy kind of takes a little bit of like some space in there, which is nice. Because other than that, you don't really hear it, right? You don't really hear it here anyway. But without it, it's missing something. And the kick snare pattern, extremely simple, once again. I didn't end up keeping a lot of high-end frequency over here because I had that already from the crazy, weird, plucky thing over here. I had it from the Sawtooth, and I had it from the ARP. I don't need any more rhythm, and I didn't need much high-end because it was already taken care of, right? So I let go of that, and then I continue on to this section over here. So after this, I'm like, all right, I've introduced the beat. Let me break the beat down again and go into something else. Yeah, so that section is just a callback to the 0070 kind of section that I had before. And it's a great way to kind of break apart the song, keep it interesting, and get people engaged. And then you screw their expectations by bringing in that drop a little bit differently, you know? So this is like my build-up. It's like an anti-build-up, right? A harp. There's a darn harp. There's a harp. There is a harp. Brother, there is a harp. You add the harp. You love the harp. You respect the harp, guy. Okay? You keep that harp in to keep you alive. I will scream it on top of the mountains. I love the harp! So you keep that harp in there. And then, obviously, here you can kind of feel something's about to go kind of fishy, right? So listen. I didn't finish that line for myself. I wanted to cut it. I wanted to make it feel slightly abrupt, you know? Hit them different, you know? You give them something beautiful, then you completely take away that beautiful thing, and then you give them something absolutely destructive and chaotic. And that's where that bass comes in. Okay, so this, reusing my old resources, I added the Helenki bass over here to double up the layer. I've also added in a brand new Serum bass. I added Serum bass 1 over here. What's he doing? He's doing this. It's a dubstep sound. It's the dubstep. It's the rhythm sound is what it is. You add it in, you get the rhythm into the bass. And I got it. And then drums, started adding some slightly new things to it. Also changed the beat a bit. Got it more kind of trap oriented. Added a knife sound. Ooh, hey, hey, hey. You put the knife in there, and the beauty about the knife is that it kind of it creates that hi-hat feel. I just didn't want to use a hi-hat. Well, don't hate me, man. It's just what it is, okay? I think knives they have a cool sound when you swing, you know? But yeah, so put the knife in, not too high in frequencies, not the same as like a transient and like quick sounding hat, you know, because I didn't want that. I already had those quick transients from the other elements going on, like the weird plucky here, huh? I had that doing stuff, and then I also had this doubler, this vocal double going here. So that's giving me all the rhythm and the transients that I need. Like that, right? And then you leave space for the bass as well, so that's always nice. That keeps on going, and then we move on to this section. Copy paste, you know? And the beauty about it is that I didn't really need to do much to it because of the fact that everything else around it is so different that as a listener, you might want to hear something that was like that you can relate to, right? So that's why I put that section over there. And then after this section, right, we go back to that aggressive aggressive. Beautiful, right? Okay, so there, just to give a slight alteration to the previous section that did that, I added in a guitar. The guitar alone sounds like this. Without its plugins. See, I don't know how to play guitar. This was all kind of like one note recorded at a time and then spliced together. So instead, did that, made it sound super intense. I was kind of feeling some Bring Me the Horizon mantra. You know that song? Those kind of vibes where it's like very kind of like usually if you put like a pitch shifter, usually put it before the amp sim, but instead I put it after, and it gives obviously a completely different tone, obviously, you know, so that's what you get. And of course, who would I be without adding some vocal doubler onto it, you know? Because I'm too lazy to do this recording twice, because I am a lazy man. And you put that on top. I put it into the bass group because, I mean, it kind of adds to the bass. It's literally following the bass, so why would I not put it there, you know? See, I didn't even, like, put any effort in, like, trying to make it, like, properly quantized. I should have, but I didn't. Huh. It's like slowly you start to see how broken of a mess this whole song is. Jeez. All right, and then we got vocals doing the beautiful staccato things, and we're pretty much at the very end, boys. Home stretch. And there you have it. So yeah, that's more or less it. Everything over here, more or less the same. Went for a much more minimal approach this time around, and I think it came out really cool. It came out different to the Ouya remix. Still had like some grandiose elements, but this time I was trying something a little bit more kind of lo-fi, a little bit more mid-heavy in its like frequency spectrum. I wanted something that sounded a little bit more kind of like some rock tunes have. Some of those like rock mixes kind of sound a little bit darker sometimes, and I like that, you know, like those old school rock mixes. Please stick around over the next coming weeks. This one was just the production, but I plan to also look into composition as well as mixing, mastering. And we also have a Discord. Woo! And we already have some memes and schemes going on, and it's so nice. And it's cool to have like a little community. I'm so grateful. It's the first time I've ever had this, and I'm so it feels so nice, you know. So if you guys want to come join the party, talk about music, you know, we're sharing each other's stuff, and we're even like giving some feedback to each other, which is so nice. It feels like such a nice, healthy little space, and I'm really proud of it. Also, thank you to those who came to the premiere. It means a lot. I found it so fun to talk with you guys as it was showing up, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, a beautiful day.